When Malik and Micah Johnson enrolled at Whitmore Crest Academy, a prestigious, predominantly white prep school in Connecticut's affluent suburbs, they expected challenges. But what they didn't expect was the storm that awaited them behind the school's elegant gates. From the very first day, Bryce Callahan and his group made it clear. Malik and Micah weren't welcome. Taunts, shoulder checks in the hallway, and constant snide remarks followed them like shadows. But what Bryce and his crew didn't realize was this. Malik and Micah had been trained since they were toddlers by a father who believed in strength through control, not chaos. They assumed the twins were just quiet boys from the city, out of place, easy targets. They couldn't have been more wrong. Before we dive deeper, let us know in the comments where you're tuning in from. And don't forget to subscribe. Tomorrow's story might just change how you see strength. It was late September, but the Connecticut sun still clung to summer's warmth. The campus of Whitmore Crest gleamed. Manicured lawns, tall oak trees lining cobblestone paths, and brick buildings older than most cities. Malik and Micah stepped through the wrought-iron gates in matching navy jackets and beige slacks. Uniform on the outside, unshakable on the inside. Their skin glowed bronze under the morning sun, their posture straight, their eyes alert. They were not here to blend in. They were here to rise. "Feel that?" Micah murmured as they passed the school's main arch. Malik gave a slow nod. "Pressure, like we're already judged." Their father, Darius Johnson, a former Marine and now a martial arts instructor, had prepared them for this. "Stand tall, stay sharp, but never let pride speak louder than peace," he often said. He had taught them that power wasn't loud. It was in knowing when not to swing, and exactly how, if ever, to do it. At the top of the stone steps, a voice sliced through the morning stillness. "Well, would you look at that? Twins from the city. Must be a buy-one-get-one deal." Malik and Micah didn't slow their pace. 3 boys leaned against a nearby column like they owned the building. Bryce Callahan, blonde, smug, shirt untucked. The type of kid who thought rules were for other people. Beside him were 2 shadows, Nolan and Trent. They laughed, but always waited for Bryce to lead. "Hey, tight jackets. Did the thrift store run out of your size?" Bryce sneered. Micah's fingers twitched by his side. Malik inhaled slowly, his father's voice steady in his mind. "Let them talk. But don't let them reach your center." They kept walking. Inside, the school looked like a museum. Marble floors, Latin phrases carved above doors, and portraits of long-gone benefactors staring down from the walls. But none of it felt welcoming. It felt like they had stepped into a place that had already decided they didn't belong. Their names were mispronounced during roll call. Classmates bumped them without apology. Eyes slid past them like they were invisible. "It's not the words," Micah whispered during lunch. "It's the way silence speaks louder." Still, they didn't react. Every night, their father asked, "You holding steady?" And every night they answered, "Yes, sir," until the day Bryce took it further. One afternoon, Malik opened his locker to find a flyer taped to the door. A cartoon drawing of 2 janitors, drawn with exaggerated lips and noses, sweeping a classroom. The title read, "Whitmore's Welcome Program." Laughter echoed from behind. "We just wanted to help you feel more included," Bryce smirked. Malik looked him in the eye, calm but sharp. "Your ignorance is showing," he said. Bryce stepped forward, chest puffed. "You got something to say?" Micah placed a hand on his brother's shoulder. "Not here. Not like this." That night, they sat at the dinner table in silence, their plates mostly untouched. Darius looked at both sons. "Tell me," he said. Malik spoke first. "It's building, every day. And it's not just them." Micah added, "The teachers see it. No one stops it." Darius leaned back slowly. "Then you know what to do. You know where the line is. When they cross it, you answer. Not with anger, but with precision." The next morning, the hallways of Whitmore Crest buzzed with quiet whispers. Something had shifted, a tension in the air, like the seconds before a thunderstorm. Malik and Micah approached their lockers and stopped cold. Spray paint. Red. Dripping. Their locker doors were vandalized. Again. This time, worse. Slurs, caricatures, crude drawings mocking their skin, their features, their very presence, and taped across the top. Property of Whitmore maintenance staff. A crowd had gathered, phones raised. Some laughed. Others just watched, saying nothing. Again. Bryce leaned casually against the opposite wall, arms crossed like a man admiring his work. "Morning, gentlemen," he said. "Hope the new decorations help you feel more at home." Micah's jaw clenched. Malik looked to the side and met the eyes of Mr. Tobias, the elderly janitor. The old man's face said it all. Sadness, shame, solidarity. Malik walked over and asked softly, "May we borrow some towels?" Mr. Tobias nodded slowly, wordlessly handing them a roll of paper towels and a spray bottle. As the twins cleaned their lockers, the laughter began to fade. Whispers slowed. Bryce's smirk faltered, just slightly. Malik stood up, paper towel still in hand. "Enough," he said quietly. Micah echoed, his voice calm but final. "No more." They didn't yell, didn't threaten. But something in their silence carried more weight than any shout ever could. That day, they walked through the halls not as victims, but as storms waiting to be unleashed. That night, at dinner, their father didn't ask anything. He could see it in their eyes. The shift had happened. Micah broke the silence. "They're not going to stop, not until we answer back." Malik nodded. "And when we do, it's going to be clear, not loud, just final." Darius leaned forward, eyes steady. "Then make it count. Make it something they'll never forget, and never repeat." Thursday morning came crisp and cold. The sky was clear, but the energy at Whitmore Crest was anything but. Micah and Malik walked side by side through the courtyard. Their steps were calm, measured, but inside they were ready. Bryce's voice cut through the chatter like nails on glass. "Hey, thought you'd like to know. They're serving watermelon and collard greens at lunch today." Laughter bubbled behind him. Nolan chuckled. Trent slapped his knee like it was comedy gold. Micah froze, just for a second, then exhaled slowly, letting it pass through him. Malik stepped forward. His voice didn't rise, but his words landed with weight. "You keep trying to be funny, Bryce, but the only joke here is your character." Bryce raised an eyebrow, smirk returning. "You going to lecture me now?" Malik held his gaze. "Number, I'm just letting you know. We're done letting you write the rules." The crowd had begun to gather. Phones came out again. But this time, it wasn't to laugh. It was to witness. Later that day, it escalated. In gym class, the twins were jogging laps when Trent accidentally tripped into Micah, knocking him hard to the floor. "Careful, bro," Nolan muttered. "Wouldn't want to scratch your scholarship." Malik was at his brother's side in seconds. Micah's hand was scraped, but he nodded. He was okay. Coach Harper looked up from his clipboard, paused, then went back to writing. No warning, no discipline, just more silence. That night, their father didn't sit at the table. He stood behind it. "They crossed the line," Micah said quietly. Darius nodded. "And what did I teach you about that moment?" Malik answered, voice steady. "You don't strike out of anger. You move with purpose." Darius's eyes were sharp, but calm. "Then you already know what comes next." And they did. The next day was not about rage. It was about resolve. It happened right before lunch. The hallway buzzed with students headed toward the cafeteria. Malik and Micah reached their lockers and stopped. Again. This time, it wasn't just spray paint. Polaroid pictures were taped across the lockers. Edited photos of their faces pasted onto mugshots, janitor uniforms, and prison jumpsuits. Scrawled in black marker, "Future Felons of America." Laughter erupted from the other end of the hallway. Bryce stood near the stairwell, arms folded, smug as ever. "Thought we'd help you with your yearbook portraits," he called out. Phones were already out. Students recording, expecting a reaction. But they weren't ready for what came next. Micah turned slowly, calm as glass. "Take them down," he said, his voice low but unshakable. Bryce laughed, stepping closer. "Or what? You two gonna cry again?" Malik stepped beside his brother. "Number. But you're about to learn something your daddy never taught you. Consequences." Bryce shoved Malik's shoulder. "Go back to where you came from." In a blur, Malik caught his wrist, twisted it down. Controlled, not brutal. Bryce winced in shock. Trent lunged at Micah, but Micah sidestepped and swept his leg low. Precise, efficient. Trent crashed to the floor. Nolan tried to grab Malik from behind. Malik shifted, elbowed his chest, and sent him staggering backward into the lockers. The hallway fell silent. Phones still recording. But no one was laughing now. Security arrived within minutes. But the damage was already done. Not to the twins, but to the myth of Bryce's untouchability. When questioned, Malik answered simply, "We defended ourselves. We were given no other choice." That afternoon, they were summoned to Headmaster Langston's office. The mood was tense, uncertain. "We're placing both of you on temporary suspension," Langston said, avoiding eye contact. "Did you suspend Bryce when he defaced our lockers?" Micah asked. Malik added, "Or when he mocked our heritage, when we were tripped in class?" Langston hesitated. "Those incidents are under internal review." The door opened behind them. Their father, Darius, stepped in without knocking. He stood tall, calm, his voice steady as steel. "If you punish the reaction but ignore the provocation, you're not upholding justice. You're protecting a system." Langston cleared his throat, but didn't respond. "You'll be hearing from the board," Darius said, turning to leave, "and from every voice that stayed silent. Until now." Over the weekend, something shifted. What happened in the hallway didn't stay in the hallway. Videos of the incident began circulating online, but this time they weren't used to mock. They were used to show the truth. TikTok, Instagram, even a few news blogs picked it up. Captions read, "They held their ground." About time someone stood up. Students who had stayed silent began to speak. A junior named Alicia posted a video saying, "I saw what those boys went through. I stayed quiet. I won't anymore." A group chat started spreading screenshots, proof of comments, DMs, even a photo of a teacher ignoring the bullying. Another student, Ravi from the debate team, wrote, "Micah signed up to compete. Bryce erased his name in front of everyone. The teacher saw, said nothing." The silence that once protected the bullies began to crack. By Tuesday, the administration couldn't ignore it. Darius received a call from Dr. Lorraine Hawthorne, chair of the school board. She didn't want to talk over the phone. She asked to meet. That Thursday, Darius arrived with Micah and Malik. They didn't wear suits, just button-down shirts, slacks, and quiet confidence. The boardroom smelled of lemon oil and old books. The air was heavy. Dr. Hawthorne opened the meeting with calm authority. "We've reviewed footage, gathered testimony. What happened here wasn't just an incident, it was a pattern." She looked at the twins. "You were failed. Repeatedly. That ends now." The board voted unanimously. The twins' suspensions were lifted and expunged from their records. Bryce and his crew were placed on disciplinary probation, assigned mandatory community service, and removed from student leadership positions. A formal review of school policy on bullying and racial bias was launched immediately. As they left the building, Malik turned to his father and whispered, "We didn't just stand our ground, Dad. We moved the ground